Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for inviting me to present to you for Epic. I wish Epic was around when I was an emerging professional in camping. So let's get into it. My name is Michael Garcia. I am the owner, author, consultant for Youth Development Pro, which is a LLC run based out of New York State. But I have been working in camping my entire life and youth development my entire life, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. I have written two books. My first book is Pocket Guide for Summer Camp Staff. So it's a staff training book that you can use at any camp. Each staff person's like Mad Libs for summer camp staff training. And then my current book that's just coming out, actually you can pre-order it, but it's just coming out at the end of January 2025, is Becoming a Modern Mentor. And it's a usable manual on how to become a mentor and a better supervisor in 2025. So I worked for the YMCA of the USA on several initiatives, one being a day camp redesign. Was super proud to be picked as one of the 7 camps across the United States to redesign what day camp looks like for the YMCA. We were able to do a lot of innovative things, and some of you who are in the Y, it's called the Day Camp Upgrade, and that was me. I've also been a part of some doctoral students and their papers and working in with me at camp and how we administer day camp and youth development. I've also traveled around and presented all across the United States, which has been super fun. Once in Hawaii, which was super cool, and worked with YMCA's and other camp professionals all across the US. So my first job that I got was a camp counselor slash lifeguard at my local YMCA. Believe it or not, I'm the one all the way on the left, not the one in the middle. So that was me, and I ran all sorts of youth development programs, charitable organizations, focusing on camp, but also aquatics and sports, after school, all the fun things. In my, believe it or not, 35 years of working with youth. So very excited about that career. And one of the big things for me is setting your own mission, right? Your organization has a mission and a vision, or a motto or mantra or whatever you want to call it. But do you know yours? Have you created yours? I think that's a really important. The one I create and is based off of Youth Development Pro is called Happy. And we can have some the participants in our programs, and not just participants, but staff, be happy about what we're doing and happy about being here and happy about walking into work every day. And then healthy. Healthy for me is physical health. So, are all the machines in the right order? Is there lifeguards on? So we have a nurse and all the things that it takes to have a physical healthy. And then the big for me is safe. So happy, healthy, and safe is a huge component. Safe is making sure that we are in a community that is inclusive. We are in a community that understands the LGBT community and understands our world around us and how we fit into it to make it a happy, healthy, and safe program. So there's been transitions because I'll talk a lot about the Y because I spent 27 years in the YMCA. But I've also spent time at my YMCA, spent time at my local JCC, nonprofit Kiwanis summer camp, and yes, I am a Girl Scout. So as well as that, so I've worked with all of these organizations and many, many more throughout my 35 years of working camp. My positions have changed from, like I said, as a camp counselor, lifeguard, unit leader, assistant director, director, program director, senior program director, all the way up to executive director. And so I think it's really okay to understand that moving forward and backwards in your career are totally acceptable and awesome. And it's really all based around the people that are with you. So there's definitely lessons I've learned over my years, in my 35 years, and I want to go through some of the key ones I've learned. So let's first talk about starting out. If you're first year, second year, third year, even up to your fifth year, you're still starting out in your career. And so some things I want you to be conscious of is details matter. You don't need a title to lead. Like you waiting for someone to give you that power to lead when you can step up and lead by yourself is huge. Being authentic and will build the trust in your community that you're with. And then, believe it or not, don't overthink. Simplicity often wins in program design. And then your mid-career, you're shifting to what the next steps are and how you grow. And there's going to be some overlap definitely in your starting career and mid-career and those muddled years in the middle. Innovation while standing your ground, and I mean that by understanding that you are put in the power to innovate, but you need to understand what your community wants before you can innovate. Right? You have to know what that is. And then leadership's about serving others. It's no longer about you. Not about your fun. It's not about your engagement with the doing cannonballs, although you should always do cannonballs and things of that nature. But leadership is about making sure the people under you and the people you work with and you work for are being served. And then conflict is an opportunity to grow. It gives us all butterflies. I'm 50 years old, still gives me butterflies when there's conflict involved. I get it. But being open to the next one and you want to, and vulnerable, and you want to lead with that vulnerability, you want to make sure that it's okay. And I think the biggest part throughout all of this, and I've done the whole cycle myself, is above all, so it's about fun, right? So, you need to take the time to have it, but you also need to understand that it is not about you all the time. So let's talk about some skills that you need to work on and to build these lessons. So I've topped it off at 6. There's 100 million more. But adaptability is one. I think it's important to be able to understand your role. As an executive director, I lost my evening maintenance person, and so the overnight person would polish the floors every week, and putting stress on my other staff for a couple of weeks until we were able to fill that position. I polished the floors every Monday at my YMCA. I took that component on because I knew I was able to adapt and still fill my place and do able to do my job effectively. Communication, open and honest all the time. It's okay, and I would love if you came in one day and said, "Screwed up. This is what I need, or this is what I did, or this is how I think I should fix it." That's important. That really shows me your capacity to understand and communicate what is going on in your world. And then leadership. And I'm not the leader from the front, because if I find that I'm leading from the front, I look behind me and everybody's gone. I'm the pusher from the back. How can I support you? How can I lift you up? How can I allow you to be better by giving you a boost of confidence, a boost of skills, a boost of knowledge, or just sometimes just a boost of, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?" That's really important to me. The next one is creativity. Now, I got a little story with creativity. When I started at my YMCA as a full-time person, not just a seasonal employee and lifeguard and swim instructor and all that fun jazz, but when I started, um, my boss said, "Well, we need to do something in the fall after camp ends. We normally just shut down camp. Boom, you're done." And as the old saying goes, I did nothing else the rest of the year. So we wanted to do different programming the rest of the year at my local Y. And so I said, "Well, what kind?" I go to my boss. I said, "What kind of programming you want me to do?" And she literally said, "Hey, I hired you to be the person who comes up with things. Don't ask me, just start something." And so I started things and I started things and I started things and I did this and I tried that and it just didn't work. And some things worked. And by worked, I mean we had 10, 15 kids come to a program or a family camp or whatever that was, but it wasn't really being successful. And I learned through my years is it's not my job to flatly think of, design, and implement everything. The key part to that is the step before. Ask, have a conversation. Who's my target audience? Are we focusing on fifth and sixth grade boys without fathers in their lives, and how do we know that that's a focus for us, and who in our community is there that we can talk to build and find out what they want so we can ensure that they are able to grow. This is a huge one, everybody. Take your pens out, take your pencils out, write this down. Organizational skills. You don't understand until you're further enough in this that, you know, paying attention to details is what's going to make you successful. And it's going to be seen by your supervisors and your executive team and the whole leadership that you really have your things together, not because, you know, you had 50-person goal and you had 55 people show up. That's great. That's awesome. But did the staff get paid? Was there food at the kitchen? Was there enough glue guns for the project that were set up, and all of those little things? And so being organized, being uh, multitask, but multi-prioritize, I think, is a huge component of what needs to be done, and how you could do that to be acceptable. And then the big part is being emotionally intelligent, right? And emotional intelligence is a huge component, and it holds space for you to understand where you are and what your skills and capabilities are, and how you can get there, and how you can manage it, and what that looks like. So, 50 years old, I'm still working on this. There's times where I get frustrated with myself, and I um, want to just walk away and step out. And I've learned to not only take that time for me to adjust, but to communicate to my staff and tell them this is what it is. Using keywords, not announcing, Michael's really upset at something right now, so nobody talk to him. But I would start my staff meetings within the first day of staff training. I always tell my staff, if you see my ears and they're bright red, that means I'm very frustrated. It's a physical thing that I can't control, but it's a good trigger to kind of look at and be like, maybe I should take a second and see if Michael's okay, which would be amazing. I would love to have staff, love when staff check up on me, but also see and be able to know where I am in my emotional challenges. Yes, your supervisor does have emotional challenges, and how do you work through that, right? Being very intentional. I think there's definitely some skills that we need to build, and the best way to build any of the skills I'm going to talk about is just support. I think that's a huge portion of this, is where do you get your support? Where do you get the help? Who can help you with the solutions? So let's talk about what you're doing, right? Right now you're doing it. You're an EPIC, emerging professionals in camping. What a great resource. You have peers, you have mentors, you have people who are able to help and guide you with questions and answers and things of that nature. I think the other part is you want to find a mentor, but not your supervisor. Yes, your supervisor can work with you as a mentor, but ultimately finding someone not in your organizational chart that can help guide you and help when you struggle with things to be able to put them together. The hardest part is you're having a problem with your supervisor, and wait for it, you don't have anybody to go to say, so Michael's driving me nuts, because your mentor is Michael, right? That doesn't work. So you need a safe space to be able to communicate that, but it can't be Michael's boss and it can't be Michael's peer unless you've had that a prearranged agreement, and Michael has that prearranged agreement not to communicate those kind of things. Having that safe space is important. And then learn, right? No one knows everything. I don't know everything. Like this much, my friends, and that is not enough. So I'm always learning. I'm always finding out. I'm reading things. I'm reading things and listening to people who I don't necessarily agree with, because I want to be able to get and understand the mindset that they're in so I can be able to communicate better, educate myself, or see what challenges are coming up with me. And then know your why, and not why YMCA why, but like know your why. Why are you doing this? And I can't tell you your why, but I can tell you mine. So first and foremost, my why is my family, right? My son, my wife, my son's partner, I think it's really important that family is a huge part of your why and why you're doing this. I think the other part is for me, my why is the kids and the staff and being goofy and being with them and being engaged and being connected and making sure we're creating a happy, healthy, and safe space for everyone that comes in. So I'm going to tell you a little story. There was a boy, his name is Joey. And Joey was someone at my camp who I, for years, just knew. I was a unit leader by the time I really got this incident happen. And back in the day, when a child was acting up, they used to hold the unit leader's hand and go about the day with the unit leader and be with the unit leader and not with their group because they weren't focused. And Joey was always holding somebody's hand. He was just that kid. But I'll tell you, the day he wasn't there was like quiet, right? He was a center part of camp. Everybody, even the unit leader for the oldest kids, myself at the time, knew Joey, who was like 8 years old, because he was just Joey. And so Joey was really somebody who one summer came to us, and Joey came all summer. Like we had 10 weeks of day camp. Joey was there for all 11 of them. And yes, it felt like 11 on the weekends. So, um, but one day Joey came and said, "Hey, this is my last week of camp," and it was like week 3 or 4. And I said, "No, it's not, Joey. Come on. What do you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm not coming back next week. My mom pulled me out of camp. I'm gonna go spend time with grandma, my aunt, uncle, something of that nature." Okay. So at pickup that week, I went to Joey and I said, "Hey, when your mom comes, let me talk to her. I want to see what's going on." And she was there. I was there at pickup, pulled her aside without Joey, and I said, "Hey, what's going on?" Joey said it's his last week, and his mom kind of got somber and sad and said, "Yeah, Joey's father passed away. It was cancer. It was pretty quick. We didn't know. We found out just like maybe less than a month ago that he had it. And anyway, can't afford it, and I can't. I gotta send him. My sister's gonna watch him." And me being the all-knowing 21-year-old, I think I was 21. No, I was almost 21. I was 20 years old. I was almost 21 years old. And knowing everything about everything, I knew that I donated to annually the campership fund, and the scholarship fund. We used to call it back campership back in the day. The annual support campaign to the Y. And I said, you know what? Donate to the annual support campaign. You know what? Joey, come on over. We're going to pay for camp for the rest of the summer. Don't worry about it. We've raised money to do this. Speaking out of turn, right? Because that's what happens when you're young and you know everything. Um, I immediately went up to the camp director, who's a dear friend of mine, and at the time, now, not at the time, and I said, "Hey, Joey, Joey." We talked about him. I said, "This is what happened." I said, "It's really sad." He goes, "Yeah, that's really sad." I was like, "So I just figured, the campership fund that we all donate to every year, we could just send Joey to camp for the rest of the year and rest of the summer." And he looked at me weird and he goes, "Well, that money's already been allocated to other kids." And I go, "Yeah, but I mean, like, what do I give it? I'll give an extra few bucks. I'm sure everybody will give an extra few bucks." And he goes, "We can't do that. Did you promise?" And I go, "Yeah, I did." And he goes, "So are you going to call Joey's mom and let Joey know that he's not coming back because we don't have the money for him? Or, because I'm not going to do it as the director. You're the one who promised this." And I grew up not with a lot of money in my house. And, the summer job was to get me off the farm. So during the week, I'd go work camp, and I'd only work the farm on weekends. Anyway, long story short, I worked for free the rest of the summer. My salary covered Joey, and I worked for those 6 weeks to ensure he went to camp. And I was wrong to make that commitment and without the knowledge to do it. But I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about how I should be looking at my life and how I should measure success. I don't recommend in any way, shape, or form doing that. But I do it because on Monday, when Joey came to camp, I lost it because that's what I did it for. And I wasn't happy about working free for the rest of the summer, but I was okay with working free for the rest of the summer. So know your why. Who's your Joey? What's your story? Be comfortable telling it. Be knowledgeable in the fact that you may not know everything, but that's okay too. So that's what I have for y'all. Again, my name is Michael Garcia. I want to thank you for allowing me to join your group and virtually. And if you need anything from me, don't hesitate to reach out. I hope you all have an amazing, happy, healthy, and safe summer. And we'll see you around. Bye.